Everybody, Dexter Taylor, do you want to say hi to the world?
Hello to the world. That sounds like that's a programming nerd joke hidden in there somewhere. Yes,
Well,
hello world. Coming to you live from the Coxsackie State Prison in New York State. First of all, before I say anything else, I am calling into Viva Frei's show, the good offices of my buddy Carl, who's also on the line. Carl is, like me, a very strong pro-Second Amendment conservative. I am in I'm in Coxsackie State Prison because the Democrats that run New York State do not respect the Second Amendment. That is exactly why I'm here. I am a squeaky clean citizen. I'm 53 years old. I have a clean record. I've been gainfully employed. I am a 30-some-odd year veteran of the software industry. I'm a licensed amateur radio operator. I was a member in good standing of my local gun range at the time I got raided, and I was also taking online classes to figure out how to apply for my FFL. In 2020 or thereabouts, being a lifetime nerd and machine enthusiast and shade tree mechanic and maker of all kinds of stuff, I started making weapons. I started building 80% firearms based on legal parts that I bought online using my credit card under my real name, shipped directly to my house. None of the weapons that I built ever so much as crossed the threshold of my house. I built maybe 6 Glock-style pistols and 8 AR rifles, 7 AR-15s, and 1 very sexy AR-10. I never bragged about it on social media. I never brandished weapons. I never talked about weapons. I never hinted at selling weapons or selling gunsmithing services. This was a private hobby and something that I hope to become my second career. In 2022, I was raided by a joint NYPD ATF team. SWAT team broke down my door. ATF took a look around and left, never to be heard from again. New York State locked me up and decided to try me for multiple counts of felony weapons possession, among other things. The violent crime of keeping and bearing arms inside my house. My bail was almost $250,000. Of course, I rejected all the plea deals that the state offered because I know how to read the Second Amendment. I know how to read the Bruin decision as well. So, we went to trial, a trial that was in some respects a show trial. My judge happened to be a woman who was married to the Brooklyn DA's top fundraiser. She operated in that courtroom as if she had orders to be a third prosecutor. They were successful. The state was successful. We got an adverse verdict, and I was sentenced to 10 years in prison, again, for the violent crime of keeping and bearing arms in my house as a law-abiding citizen with a clean record. That's why I'm here. So, of course, we're appealing the case, and, of course, the fight is really just beginning. We expected that we wouldn't really get any love at the trial court level. That's the fight we're in, and, of course, the backstory to all this is that I've been doing conservative politics online since about 2015 as Carbon Mike.
You might have glossed over the most important thing. You were sentenced to 10 years in prison.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. I mean, people might know you. It was you had a podcast. It was called Carbon Mike.
My identity is called Carbon Mike. My podcast was called Dangerous Space. And I also have a website, futurerad.io. It's the Foundationist website. I'm the founder of the Foundationist Society. And there's a lot of content online, my thoughts about conservatism, about conservative politics, about the future of our republic, about, where we're going wrong, where we can start going right again. And so a lot of my content, or all of my content, is really out there for people to see and decide for themselves whether, for example, my political content might have risen to the level of alarming public bureaucrats to the extent that they have to break my door down. Look up everything I've said or written online and judge for yourself. I also have quite a bit of open source code under my belt. I publish that as Binary Machines. So if you look on that channel on YouTube, you'll see a variety of training videos that I put together for the different software products I've come up with. And of course, all my code is on GitHub. So that's the kind of the whirlwind tour of who I am and where I'm coming from. In terms of the politics of it, again, I want to just reiterate, yes, I'm a conservative. I do have a manifesto, but my manifesto is hardly something that would cause a reasonable person to be alarmed at the fact that I'm building firearms in my house. My manifesto is a 10-point, very simple manifesto: see deeply, listen closely, reason honestly, speak clearly, act bravely, deny the self, defend the individual, respect tradition, face the present, cultivate the future. That's the Foundationist Manifesto. And so, we know that this is not a matter of public safety. This is a matter of political control and a state regime that thinks it's above the law of the land, which is, of course, the Constitution
Dexter,
and specifically the Bill of Rights.
If I may, I want to clarify two details. First of all, you have a Give Send Go that it's still up and it's still functional. It's still the right one, right? I'm sharing this with the community right now. Okay, excellent.
Yes, that's the link. The link that's on my profile. Yes,
okay, excellent. And now flesh this out, because I don't know that everybody heard our first interview. I don't want to talk too loud. They called it ghost guns, but you were building homemade firearms from basically components that you order online legally, delivered to your house, your apartment. And they're all they're serialized, correct?
No, they're not serialized. No.
The parts.
They're not serialized. No. Well, let's sidebar a second. I mean, it's important because the various anti-Second Amendment political hacks like to make a lot of hay about the fact that my weapons didn't have serial numbers. Of course, as far as federal law is concerned, the only time you're under any obligation to serialize a firearm, to serialize the receiver, is if you manufacture it for the purpose of selling it or otherwise transferring it. There is nothing that I've done that would make any sane person think that I intended to sell or transfer these weapons. Again, the state subpoenaed my email records. They seized my devices. They seized my phones. They got so-called American Express to give up my records, right? They know very well that I wasn't trying to transfer weapons. They know very well I wasn't trying to either sell or give weapons away. And again, the ATF agents were in my house on the day of the raid. Everyone who's in the firearm community knows how the ATF gets down. If they had seen anything untoward, they would have been all over me. And the fact is, they looked around and walked away. ATF had been there to drive the search warrant, and that was it. Okay? So this is entirely a New York case, not a federal one. Yeah? People say ghost guns. It's obviously a silly, made-up political term. I prefer the term traditional guns because that's what they are. That's what my weapons are. They are traditional firearms manufactured in the traditional American way. That is in an American home.
I know I've asked you every time we speak because I couldn't believe it myself, but the judge, her name is Darkay, for whatever it's worth. I believe one can make some communist ties or communist familial ties, but she did in fact say, don't bring up the Second Amendment. This is New York. There's no Second Amendment in this court.
I think the exact quote was, the Second Amendment has no place in this courtroom. Yes, okay. That's the quote. The Second Amendment has no place in this courtroom. And, they tried to, they didn't like it. I mean, of course, I took the stand in my own defense, and they certainly didn't like the answers I gave. When the prosecutor asked me if I had a permit, I said, yes, it's called the Second Amendment. And then they definitely didn't like it.